There you go.
Nice.
That is so cool, man.
Thanks,
So,
dude. Sharing that, man. That's awesome.
yeah, dude, that song is sick. So, what I love about that video is first, I've noticed that you guys don't have very many actual music videos. You have a lot of videos like the still screen. From what I've looked at, that mask that you have with the green, does that have a name? Does that have a name?
Well, we've always called
that guy.
I mean, we've always called it the Voodoo Man. I don't know why that just stuck, but I guess that would be the Voodoo. That would be the Voodoo Man. We don't have anything else. Like that's what it's always called. So it's Voodoo Man. But that's the guy from the Feed My album cover from our first Epitaph record, which is our second album. And we just kind of always wanted to have like once again going back to our influences, going back to Iron Maiden. We've always wanted like a mascot guy, like a thing.
Yeah.
The people, I mean, just like the Misfits have their thing and everyone else has their thing. We've always thought once we get something that sticks, we're going to use it, and that's what we use, and it totally works with everything, the sound, where the band kind of comes from. We just kind of think it kind of works, so we always try and incorporate it when we're trying to bring it back a little bit more.
Nice. Well, when you first went on tour, and you've done world tours, right? So how many world tours have you done?
As far as going around the world, well, they're kind of usually spread out. I would love to be like one of those bands that could be like, we're going on a world tour for 2 years straight. And it kind of works that way, but it's not really the way the big time bands do it when you're, I guess, punk rock and like kind of DIY. But we've done, if I could break it down, I guess, if I had to think about it, we've done Japan about 7 or 8 times. We've done South America about 5 or 6 times. Mexico, probably about 12 times. Europe, probably about 12 to about 20 times.
Wow.
A few other places that kind of included, some kind of off the wall places. We've been to Russia like a few times. That was nuts. We should have been a lot more to a few places, but we kind of missed it at certain times, just like at certain points in your career. It's not the same way for most bands, of course, but I mean, everyone's different. But we've just had like moments where we've had to like not be able to get to certain places, whether it was the weather or whether we had to cancel for like some family stuff or always something, but we've missed a couple opportunities. But yeah, we've been, I mean, as far as like the world goes, if we had to sum it all up, I'd say about 12 times if you had to stick stuff together in places. But it's usually like, okay, we're going to Europe for a month, and then you go, and then you come back for a month or a couple weeks, and then you go somewhere else. And then you do that like a tour around the U.S. and then come home from the U.S. and you might fly to Japan for a couple weeks or a week. That's kind of how it goes.
Do you have a memory that sticks out in your head that you think about constantly, being on the road as one of the most memorable times you've had, maybe on stage or in a certain country that you've played at?
Oh man, there's a few. There's just been like moments where it's been kind of surreal, where you're like, I can't believe we're playing this festival and we're in this tent and there's like, it's raining outside. There's like mud everywhere. You can't walk anywhere really without putting plastic over your shoes and having like a raincoat on, but you're in some weird backstage tent with like, it's just been not that weird, but like weird stuff. Like, okay, there'll be like the Pet Shop Boys playing the giant festival stage outside, playing in like Eastern Europe. One time we were backstage and at the stage that we were playing at a giant like a all day kind of like a Coachella thing that lasts for like a week, right? And it was in Denmark, and we were on the same stage as like the band leader at the time for like the Tonight Show, Branford Marcellus. He had like a funk band that was playing the same stage as like Voodoo Glow Skulls and like Less Than Jake or some punk bands. And then there was like the Jim Rose like Side Circus show stage was on that same stage too, doing their circus show. So there was like a guy like lifting up weights like with his dick, like with his bar. Like while we were backstage, probably smoking weed or smoking hash, drinking, and then talking to the guy from the Tonight Show about his band, and he's just there chilling like a normal dude in a band, like not
just kicking it.
And then there's guys in like random 90s punk bands around too, and then And then on one stage, Motley Crue's playing, the major side stage, playing out so you could hear them. And then the Pet Shop Boys are on another stage. I remember that. So it's always funny stuff. But, I mean, there's been stuff like that. I mean, we did an overnight train. The last time we went to Russia, we did an overnight train from Moscow to St. Petersburg. And it was just like an adventure. It was like a movie, man. We were like, it was one of our first times there. So we got taken in by like a independent promoter who were just like dudes. Like it's always dudes like you guys or something. Dudes that are into the scene that do something, that do their part, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We come in and we get picked up by just like guys that are doing a show, and we're gonna travel to the next show in St. Petersburg, which is like a major city away. It's probably like going from like San Francisco to LA or something, but like longer.
That's like an 8-hour drive. So this would be like maybe a 15 or 16-hour drive, right?
Well, this would be a 20-hour train ride.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
So the guy's like, we're gonna
big one
with his accent. We take the train. So we take the train. We take the train all night with just the band and our little crew guy and a promoter and some guitars. And we're in one of those that's like trading places. It's like the Eddie Murphy movie or something. Like we're in a little cart with a bed that folds down with 4 beds, and we have 2 little like carts, and they turn into couches, and you're just on a train watching Russia go by at night after our show in Moscow. Instead of like the typical, we're going to go to the hotel and sleep, and then the next day or something. Nah, man, play a show. Get dried up.
You still got that leftover adrenaline. Yeah, still a little buzzed. Jump on a train.
Exactly it, man. And then we went back to whatever hotel we had, changed up real quick, and went straight to the train and rode a train all night. And whether you want to sleep or not, it's up to you. But man, we're on a train all night going to St. Petersburg. I don't know if I'll ever do that shit again. And then,
it's wild. How could you sleep?
And then, no, we didn't sleep. And the dude busts out fucking, like some bottles of vodka, which you're not allowed to drink on the train, I guess, unless you buy it from the bar when the bar's open. So of course the train cops show up to the carts while we're in like fully into the trip, not like just cracking bottles. It's like, oh, dudes running amok, walking around the train with bottles and like mess,
Yeah.
But it was pretty surreal. That was a surreal moment, man. That was like, because we got to experience like what it is to walk. And I came across some YouTube videos of this, not like a while back, but where you walk through the train from the richer part to the poorer part.
Okay.
Yeah. First class back to
low class.
And not like that because, man, I'm punk rock, dude. Punk rock tour. We're not, we're not getting rich off the tour. We're playing rad shows, but come on, it was pretty. We had a little sleeper train thing, but we walked ball buzz and probably high through the other. You can walk through the whole train almost, and it's like there's people in trains that are like, it's communal. It's like bunk beds in jail, like open bunk beds in jail, bro. And it's like,
oh wow,
like it's families sleeping on bunk beds together and like on the side of the train, and we're like, whoa, this is like probably like. And the guy had explained to us, oh yeah, this is what you get when you pay like, this is $20, or like,
yeah.
It's like a $20 ticket or something.
I wonder if there's some Russian person somewhere who has the like other side of the story. Like, yes, Papa and I had to sleep in the bunk on a train one time, and there were these weird punk men who came by and
these Americans
gin and yelled something in English at us.
Yeah, weirdos on top of weirdos. Yeah, exactly.
Excellent.
Tell us about, so you have a new lead singer, right? So as a band, was it hard to, being around as long as you guys have, was it hard to find that new lead singer that fit the band, or did you already know this lead singer before he joined?
Well, we already knew him for sure.
Okay.
We had done some shows with him, and we had done some shows with his band Death by Stereo, who've been around for a long time. And they've done the whole same thing as us, man. They put out records on Epitaph Records. They've been around the block. They still go around the block. They're still very much an active band. So we knew him, and we had done some European shows with them. That's I think the last time we had done a show like in Orange County, which is out here, in Southern California, where they're from. We had done a show with them a few years back, before this went down, and it was never a plan. Of course, it was like we didn't know it was going to happen. We didn't know it. We just kind of thought we were kind of cruising. We thought we were cruising for a while. I mean, with there being three bros in the band, there's always something, man. I mean, three family members. You could say what you want to each other, and other people have to listen to it that are touring with you.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine that, and imagine dudes that are getting closer and closer to 50. One is past 50, and you're just getting to the age, especially where you're like, man, I've done my life already too. We're not little kids. We're past the little But we had been fine the whole time. It's not like I could tell you a bunch of horror stories about the band as a business and then as a plane, and we've gotten to do. We've been very fortunate for a DIY band, man. From being from where our town is and the kind of music that we play. Going back to the ska thing, we kind of weren't accepted in the ska scene right off the bat, but we knew that already. So we kind of like had all this other stuff that we dealt with in the earlier part of our career. I think made the band kind of strong to be around for 30. We were around for 31 years when that went down. So we were around forever, or for 29, 30 years. But to go back to it, it was never a plan. He just kind of quit and left in a bad way and in a bad spot that was never planned, and kind of like in a dramatic way. And some of it, a lot of it, I hate to say, comes from alcohol and like substance stuff. You can't act. You got to curb it at a certain point when you get older, and you can't act like you're 23 years old when you're almost 50.
I'm gonna put this wine glass down tomorrow.
Oh man,
no, I'm just kidding.
When you're doing business and you got to, and there just became a point to where like the mutual respect was starting to not be there for sure for a few years.
Yeah.
And he moved away to a different state about 20 years ago and changed a little bit and kind of distanced himself. But we kept the band going, and it was fine for years. And we dealt with some family turmoil here and there, like we always have, and it just came to the point to where I think we grew apart, to where it's like, okay, this guy lives 4 hours away in a different state and sort of doesn't have the same sort of same values anymore. Kind of doesn't
right.
think, not that you have to think the same way, but
it matters. It matters.
Been in the same place, man. I mean, my brother in the core of the band has kind of been keeping it going here in my home studio the whole time, and kind of waiting for outside kind of forces to come in and join us.
I was going to ask you. You kind of answered it, sort of. My next question was going to be: how does a band that's been around since 1988 and now it's 2021? How do you stay motivated to write new music? Because I mean, a lot of bands after just so many albums just kind of they fall off, but you're still able to pull it together, come out with a new song, new music video not that long ago. How do you keep interested in that?
Man, it's just what I hate to go back to I, but still, we've always kind of based it on. It's always been sort of guitar riff driven band, and then the horns and the other pieces have always coming after the fact. But we've always kind of based it on guitar bass stuff, and then we bring in the vocals and the horns at certain points, right? Speaking for myself, and I guess my younger brother George, who wrote the most he's ever written on, he kind of